my recollection on this 500 or 550 was on lands within the Malka side of the BYU campus that was approved under the current SCP. I think that's what that reference is. But the proposal today is to reduce some of that and shift it on over to Malaekahana. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
It was in the SCP, but not zone approved.
Not zone, designated under the land use plan.
Correct, but just designation.
Yes. That's my understanding.
Additional questions from the members?
In the original existing SCP that you mentioned, there's a 500 number, and I didn't see a replacement for that. You guys talk about an increase in certain tiny areas or moving them around. We talk about dwelling units per acre, but there's no number. So I think that's where Commissioner Zama's looking at is under the proposed SCP. You were going from X number to what number?
Yes, we did some preliminary calculations, and much of that stuff that was earlier, currently intended for residential expansion and part of the tech part was being put back into ag. Yeah, so in exchange, we're proposing the Malaekahana expansion. So I think what had happened was the owners thought back in that area the development constraints were far too great. For example, it was steep, it was not contiguous parcels. So they thought perhaps in this area it would be flatter, more easily developed. And so when we analyzed that, we thought, well, since this area will no longer be used, I thought we'd put that back into agriculture and perhaps some preservation, and allow them to establish Malaekahana in exchange.
I think what I want to know is, when you look at the change from the existing SCP to what you're proposing here in the PPP draft, is there a net increase in units to be developed under the SCP? In terms of a potential maximum, or is it about the same?
I think there is a net increase, but let me clarify that. The net increase also proposes market and affordable units.
Right.
Whereas within the existing plan, I think those are mainly for faculty and student housing.
Do you have a ballpark number? Percentage,
Yeah.
there's increase.
I guess you could calculate it. You're saying normally, I mean, existing was some 500 units. Proposed is some 800 units. So roughly 30% perhaps.
Yeah, just the type of housing will change.
The target,
Yeah.
will have a greater mix.
Additional questions? Or clarifying questions from members? On this topic, if we could go to the redacted, the red line version, it's 3-38. That's where the residential unit that we're discussing is referenced. I guess if I could come at the same idea, but differently to your population estimates, which is the basis for your household unit demand. I guess I'm confused as to, so I appreciate the potential unit inventory. I think we're clear on that, and that while it's zoned as potential, or their potential units, you're caveating that a substantial number of the units may not actually be developable for a variety of reasons. So I understand that part, but it's, what's the forecast, or if you could point us to the text that this plan is saying how many more units? Is it 800? Because I don't read the 800 anywhere.
What page were you?
3-38. Or specifically the tables on 3-40. So that's the population table, but it's in the residential unit section. that references the new units that you just mentioned?
Okay, so if you look at page 3-39, first paragraph, there is reference to acreage and the expected provided number of units equivalent to 875. I mean, it's not an easy translation saying, based on today's family size, this is the number of people that's going to be located there. Because part of the reason why Kolalo has such a great, the largest family size for any region within the city is that there's multi-generational aspects of housing going on in Kolalo. So it wouldn't be fair to say 875 is equivalent to 875 times the current housing size. But as far as our projection, I think we recently had our statistician come up with a preliminary projection, not including the Envision Laie. Based on the 2025 population distribution, and based on the 2010 census, we find that the population distribution for Kolalo will be heading downwards by the year 2040. So we have a projection, a preliminary projection for 2040, and it's very close to the 2025 GP distribution of, I think it was 1.4. So our preliminary findings indicate that by 2040, KL will be about 1.5% of the island-wide population projection.
But what's the percentage growth from today to 2040 for this district, so that we can maybe approximate to understand what the percentage in housing is?
Today, we have a population based on the 2010 census of 16,732. And then the projection for Kolalo is 16,172.
So one more time, 2010 is 16,000,
732.
and then what was the next year's forecast?
2040, forecast for 2040 is 16,172.
That's the negative that you mentioned.
Yes,
The
that's
actual
the,
reduction in population.
yes, it's moving from today's rate of 1.8% of the island-wide population down to 1.5%, not including Envision Laie.
Okay. But the trend based on the 2010 census is actually a negative.
Yes, and we're being back close to the 2025 GP, general plan population distribution table.
Okay. Any questions to that discussion, members? Are there any questions to the plan generally? Members? No? Any questions, were there any questions specific to our initial meeting? Members? Or any questions from Member Penry, Member Chairman? Okay.
In terms of, I guess we're looking more at the bill.
Yep.
And just trying to figure out, at least here in my mind, what the legal standing of the Kolalo law SCP is. And this might be a question for the Corporation Council, but I think we probably can start. I see language in the proposed section 24-7.2 that it's the intent is to provide a guide for orderly and coordinated public and private sector development. It talks about the provisions of this article and the Kolalo law SCP are not regulatory, with the explicit intent of providing a coherent vision to guide all new public and private sector development within the Kolalo law. So, in terms of, I know that when people are doing work in the Kolalo district, they'll want to know, how much do I have to follow this plan in my planning documents, or is it more of a guide than a regulatory document?
Yes, that's a good question. It says right in the space, it's a guide. The way the department treats it, it's when we have projects that come in for land use approvals, we'll always check those projects against how it's consistent with the guide. And if it's not, we ask the developer to state how this project could comply. So we look at this pretty religiously, you describe. So we try to match closely the project with the guidelines here. And although it's not a mandatory statement, it is adopted by ordinance by City Council. So we give it pretty great weight when we start reviewing land use approvals against it.
Not having much experience in this, is that how all the other development plans and the other sustainable community plans are set up?
Yes, they're pretty much the same way. In fact, the formatting is the same.
Any questions, follow-up questions? Yes.
I don't have a question, but more statement. I just want to thank the people that came out for public testimony. There was a lot of people voting support and opposition that I think raised some valid concerns regarding the plan, the projects. However, to expound on what Commissioner Lim said, this SCP is not really the document or the process that's going to really address these concerns in specific terms. It's more of a vision and guiding kind of document. I also recognize that it's not within the Commission's charter to affect any prior entitlements that have been provided or approved already, such as the Turtle Bay project. However, I believe that adding community concerns into the plan is appropriate.
Thank you. Any additional questions? I have a follow-up question relating to everyone's comments. So you mentioned the consistency. So if this exchange that you described, the 300 acres and all of that, and that's all reflected in the land use map. So it doesn't change the base zone for the parcels that are there.
In other words, would this in the long run affect zone changes? Or, well, the department typically doesn't go in and rezone parcels that they have no control over. So it would be up to the private developer or the private owner to come in,
Okay.
ask for the zone change, either upgrade it or downgrade it based on the plan as adopted.
Okay. Thanks.
You know, the effect of the SCP on existing zoning, that's the type of thing that a lot of people get concerned about. And so one of the issues that comes up that I'm aware of is when you're in a special management area, there's that band along the coastline. If you get a planning document like the SCP that comes up and says no development in this area, but you got residential zoning, then some courts would say you can't do the residential zoning. So are you aware of any instances where there's an inconsistency between the zone land as it's zoned today and the SCP designations that you're coming up with?
Not aware of any particular ones, but those conditions do occur, and it's either a non-conforming situation, and I think if you're referring to residential dwellings within the SMA, most of those are exempt if they're just for dwelling within a single-family dwelling, and you may be subject to environmental disclosure requirements. But typically, those developments, a single dwelling on a single lot, they're not something that would be frowned upon.
Okay, yeah, because we don't have like a comparison of existing zoning with SCP designations, and I would be concerned about the fact that they would have somebody with existing zoning, you adopt a plan, and all of a sudden they come in for their permit to build maybe just their house or their subdivision, or maybe a small commercial store, and they couldn't do that because now the sustainable community plan says this is supposed to be ags.